Welcome to the deep dive. We cut through the noise, get straight to the insights. Today, we're jumping into, well, a word of really ambitious claims, stuff bubbling up fast in the crypto space. Specifically, we're looking at BlockDAG Network. They just put out this incredibly bold announcement. They're calling it BlockDAG's American Invasion. It's basically a declaration, right? A big push into the US market. And they're throwing around promises of major sports sponsorships, huge miner deliveries, a global launch, the works. They claim it's going to shake everything up. So our mission here today is to really break down these claims, look at the strategy, see what the potential impact might be on blockchain adoption, the crypto industry as a whole. We want to help you figure out what's truly significant here and what might just be, marketing noise. Let's get into it.
Okay, so right off the bat, the language they use, it really grabs you, doesn't it? They're not just announcing things. It feels like a challenge. Lines like, this isn't a game anymore, or we're buying up the league. It's super aggressive, very confident. What do you think?
Is that kind of tone actually effective? Does it rally the community, pull in new money, especially compared to the usual crypto announcements?
You're right, that language isn't accidental. It's very deliberate. It feels like a psychological play almost. It's sort of designed to push potential investors into that act now or miss out headspace. Creates this artificial urgency. Drives quick capital, maybe impulsive capital. It definitely taps into FOMO, that fear of missing out. Makes it sound like the opportunity you can't miss. And the whole American takeover thing, that framing, it likely resonates pretty strongly with a US audience that's already looking at digital assets. Taps into that sort of pioneering spirit, maybe. Market dominance. It's an interesting approach. Risky, though.
Risky how? I mean, if they're leaning so hard into that aggressive FOMO style, does it ever backfire? Could it scare off, say, more careful investors? Or is all press good press in crypto?
That's a really good question. I mean, sure, it generates immediate buzz. It attracts a certain kind of investor, maybe more speculative. But yeah, it could definitely deter the bigger players, institutional money, maybe. People looking for long-term stability and steady growth. Sometimes, really over-the-top claims just make people skeptical, not confident. Especially if the substance doesn't seem to match the hype right away. It's a bit of a gamble for them.
Okay, talking about substance, let's look at concrete moves. They've announced partnerships, right? 2 Seattle teams, the Seattle Seawolves, that's Major League Rugby, and the Seattle Orcas, a cricket team. How do sports sponsorships like these usually work for crypto projects, in terms of getting mainstream attention? And are there maybe specific risks linking up with arguably more niche sports compared to, the NBA or NFL?
Yeah, sports deals have historically been a pretty direct route and mainstream visibility for crypto. We've seen it before. Think about Crypto.com Arena, or even those FTX deals, though those obviously ended differently. These partnerships put the brand name out there in front of potentially millions, give a sense of legitimacy, familiarity, something crypto often struggles with. The risk with niche leagues is definitely there. Sure, the entry cost might be lower and they have dedicated fans, but it's not the same immediate broad reach you get from, say, football or basketball. But, these initial deals, they could easily be strategic, a first step, like testing the waters, building a base before they make that really seismic move they hinted at.
Yeah, the seismic teaser. That was interesting. In the announcement, they dropped this hint, right? A huge sponsorship deal, pending regulatory approval, claiming it could be one of the largest in decentralized space history. That's quite a claim. What kind of partnership would you qualify as seismic in crypto? Are we talking NFL, NBA, or maybe a big tech company, a major bank? And what about those regulatory hurdles? What could actually delay or mess up a deal that big?
Well, seismic in this context, it has to mean scale and impact, right? For a crypto project, it probably means a household name. An NFL or NBA deal would absolutely qualify, instantly puts the brand everywhere. But it could also be something different, like a strategic tie-up with a major tech player, Amazon, Microsoft, or even a big financial institution. That would lend huge credibility, maybe integrate them into traditional systems. The real question isn't just if it happens, but what it is and how it gets through the regulatory hoops. I mean, the US crypto regulation scene is still figuring itself out. A deal like this would absolutely get intense scrutiny. SEC, FTC, you name it. Delays, changes. Could come from concerns about consumer protection, market manipulation, even money laundering stuff. Might need restructuring, or maybe it wouldn't happen at all. But if it lands successfully, wow, that would be transformative. Probably send the BDG price way up, establish them as a serious contender. Big credibility boost.
Okay, so shifting from the big sponsorship dreams to something more, supposedly tangible, the hardware. BlockDAG says their X30 and X100 miners are income-generating machines, and they're shipping next week. What's the deal here for someone thinking about mining? How does their model stack up against, like, Bitcoin or maybe Kaspa?
Right.
And are those revenue promises actually realistic? Or is there a risk here? Like hardware delays, scaling problems. We've seen that before in crypto, haven't we?
The promise of miners that make you money is always appealing, isn't it? But yeah, we need to look at the practical side. Their model is this DAG plus proof of work hybrid. So unlike a traditional blockchain, which is like a single file line for transactions, a DAG, directed acyclic graph, can process lots of transactions at once, more like a multi-lane highway. Aims for speed, scalability. They combine that with proof of work security, which is conceptually similar to Kaspa in using a DAG structure, though Kaspa is purely BlockDAG focused on fast blocks. The big question for BlockDAG is the revenue promise real? Considering the energy of these things probably use and what the actual network demand and throughput will be. That's key. Hardware delays, yeah, super common in tech. And scaling up production, distribution, if demand is high, that's a massive challenge. Plus the energy use, that's going to be a big factor, especially in the US. We saw the heat Bitcoin mining took, right? Environmental concerns, regulatory eyes, BlockDAG could face that too.
Right. Okay, beyond the tech and hardware, they're also playing this interesting money game, some unique financial stuff going on. They've got this $50 million buyer battles pool, apparently resets every 30 days, and a price lock is 0.000 Xantine until August 11th. Plus the reporting, what was it, $325 million raised. That's a huge number. How does this sort of gamified setup affect how investors behave? And maybe more importantly, is that $325 million figure actually verifiable? What does that mean for how valid it is?
Yeah, that gamified element, the buyer battles, the price lock, it's like turning investing into a high-stakes game. Definitely designed for aggressive buying. The buyer battles pool plays on competitiveness, quick rewards. The price lock gives this illusion of stability, at least short-term. It can definitely drive excitement and initial investment, but verifying that $325 million, that's absolutely critical. In crypto, self-reported numbers, sometimes they're inflated or just not transparent. Without independent checks, clear public records, it's hard to know for sure. And that raises questions about their actual financial footing. Even more important though, are these mechanics sustainable? They might create a short-term pump, sure. But structures like this can sometimes look a bit like, well, Ponzi dynamics if the value isn't really growing underneath, just relying on new money. After August 11th, when that price lock ends, we could see some serious volatility, maybe a surge if demand stays strong. But there's also a big risk of sell-offs, right? Early investors cashing out, especially if that big sponsorship news hasn't landed or isn't what people hoped for.
Okay, let's switch gears slightly to their tech claims again. They're talking up a live testnet, 2 million users on their X1 app, a no-code smart contract builder. Yeah. How does their tech, that DAG plus proof of work thing, really compare to the established players like Layer 1's Ethereum, Solana, or even other DAG projects like Kaspa? And you mentioned Audits earlier. Beyond Certic and Halborn, are there independent audits that really prove their scalability claims, especially if they're aiming for a global launch?
That DAG plus proof of work hybrid, it's definitely an interesting architecture, trying to get the best of both worlds. DAG speed and scalability, POW security. Conceptually, yeah, similar ideas to Kaspa's BlockDAG approach for speed, but different from how Ethereum, moving to proof of stake, or Solana with proof of history, handle scalability. Now, the claims live testnet, 2 million app users, they sound good on paper, but independent verification is crucial. Certic and Halborn, they're reputable, yes, but for something this ambitious, you'd really want multiple independent audits looking deep into scalability, security, the smart contract functionality. Without that deeper verification, there's always a risk, right?
Yeah.
Technical bugs, performance issues under load, things that could absolutely go wrong during a big global launch.
Yeah.
Could lead to network jams, security holes, or just a terrible user experience.
Okay, all right. Let's maybe play devil's advocate for a minute here. With all these huge claims flying around, where do you see potential red flags in what BlockDAG is announcing? Is it mostly just really slick, maybe overhyped marketing, or do you see genuine substance, real deliverables backing it up?
Yeah, a critical look is important, those sponsorships. Great for visibility, no doubt. But the concern is, are they just expensive marketing? Or will they actually drive real long-term use and value for the BlockDAG network itself? That's a question mark. Another potential flag, centralization. If these major partnerships are all tightly controlled by one central group within BlockDAG, does that undermine the whole decentralized idea? That's a core principle of blockchain, after all. And finally, competition. They're positioning themselves against giants like Ethereum and Solana, who have massive developer communities, proven tech, and also against other DAGs like Kaspa, Hedera. They really need to show a clear, sustainable edge that's more than just marketing flash to actually compete in that crowded field.
It's putting it all together then. The aggressive marketing, the sports deals, the miners, the money games. Does BlockDAG actually have a realistic shot at becoming, say, a top 20 crypto project? Their ambitions are certainly pointing that way.
Becoming top 20, that's a huge leap. To even get close by, say, 2025, they need to hit several massive milestones. First, absolutely got to deliver those miners on time, and they need to work as advertised, provide real sustainable income. No excuses there. Second, that's seismic sponsorship. It has to happen, and it needs to be genuinely impactful, drive real adoption, not just a quick headline. Third, the tech itself, that DAPT plus POW hybrid, has to prove it works reliably at scale, under pressure, after the global launch. Without major glitches, what could stop them? Oh, lots of things. Hardware delays, miner failures, regulators cracking down on the marketing or the mining, or just a lack of actual use cases beyond speculation. That American invasion could lead to long-term adoption if they deliver consistently, build a real active ecosystem. But if it's just hype, it'll fizzle out fast. Regulators could definitely react to the aggressive sports marketing with tighter rules. And yeah, crucially, if that big hinted at sponsorship deal falls through, community reaction could be brutal. Loss of confidence, big price impact. Could be really damaging long-term.
Wow, okay. That was definitely a deep dive. BlockDAG's strategy. It's undeniably high risk, high reward, isn't it?
Yeah.
This mix of sports, mining, super aggressive marketing, their confidence is pretty compelling. You can't deny that. But like we've talked about, it all comes down to execution, doesn't it? Can they actually deliver?
Exactly. BlockDAG is really at a fork in the road here. Could be legitimate innovation, smart expansion, or it could just be an overhyped gamble built on promises. Only time, and maybe more importantly, actual concrete results will tell us which it is.
So for everyone listening, what's your final take on BlockDAG's American invasion? Legit innovation or an overhyped gamble? And maybe more importantly, what signals will you be watching closely to figure out their real impact over the next few months?